We will not stop until the last drug lord, the last financier, and the last pusher have surrendered or put behind bars.
What is your opinion on extrajudicial killings?
I'm against extrajudicial killings, but I'm for the war on drugs.
Well, first, of course, I mean, it's better if it goes through the process, di ba?
Pabor ako kasi ginagawa nila kasi yung mga bata na pang-runner kasi hindi makulong. Inaano ng DSWD, kinukuha. Kaya nga, pabor ako.
Pabor ako para mabawasan yung addict at saka nagtutulak ng mga droga.
I am partial to it. In some cases, I am in favor, but in most cases, I think these people are still entitled to justice.
The problem is they're only catching the small fish, the small pusher, the small time user. We should catch the big fish, yung mga drug lords, yung mga corrupt customs official that allow yung mga drugs to go into the country. But
There are those who are really hard knocks and you cannot correct them anymore. They do some, like they rape, they do a lot of crime, and it's no use putting them in jail.
Yung iba kasi sinasabi na innocent, pero sa totoo hindi.
The reality of it is really, I mean, people manipulating things, and for example, ito nga yung drug, they say an underground world na they do all this, and it takes something sometimes above the law to settle that, no?
among everybody, dapat yung sa customs, dapat doon pa lang they block na the big time shipments ng mga shabu, di ba?
The big time drug lords, they should be concentrated on them because if there are no big time drug lords, then they have nothing to take.
Good afternoon. We have here Kevin Taloyo for our PolGov project. We are here to interview him to get his view on our political landscape here in the Philippines.
Alright. Well, to be honest, I really don't like to focus that much on our political landscape here in this country because my views are, let's just say, are strong and it might offend some people. I think in my opinion, it's still bad or it's still corrupt. You know, we still have all these problems like the killings, like police officers still acting like criminals, and you know, the issues about like the customs being corrupt and so on. But as of right now, at this moment, I think the President Duterte, in my opinion, he is doing a pretty good job. I mean, he was able to take out the Maote group, which makes me happy, and I think hopefully this will be a sign that brighter things will come in the future of this country. It may not be as good as its glory days like back then in the around 50s, 60s, and even the 70s. Yeah, the best thing we can do is just pray for the best and prepare for the worst.
But do you think there's a significant improvement from the previous administration?
I have to admit, Duterte is a lot better than Nonoy Aquino. That's definitely for sure.
Okay. Thank you for granting us your time.
No problem.
Yes.
As a banker, yes.
Me? Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Me? It's a yes for the purpose of transparency.
Firstly, I don't like Trillanes, bullish. But having said that, I think that Duterte, he has a point also. Duterte should sign a waiver to erase any doubts and any rumors about him having hidden wealth. Since his stance on corruption is very strong, he should be clean. So I think just to be transparent, he should.
My position is no, because every citizen has a right to keep their bank accounts private. It's also mandated by the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas, going down to the banks, that there's really a bank secrecy law for the client's security and protection. Now, in this case between our president and Senator Antonio Trillanes, this is just a political banter. Now, you can really opt to not show your bank accounts or show it, but I'm taking the position of no, because for whatever reason the critic is saying, it's just for show.
Again, kung for show lang, political banter. If you notice, that's how Filipinos think. Sympathy and emotion. So these crazy politicians uses that against each and everybody.
Do you think declaring martial law has been helping Marawi City against terrorism?
The declaration of martial law in Mindanao due to the current situation in Marawi is the right thing to do. It is for the safety of the residents of the Mindanao. In fact, the decision of Mr. President was not a violation of the law nor against the law. As long as they will still be recognized by the power of the Supreme Court, they should fear if President Duterte didn't do anything to prevent the terrorism.
I think the declaration of martial law was helpful at first, but what's not helpful is that it is eliciting more violence. President Duterte put a time cap of 60 days, but I think extending it would be very necessary because it's affecting the lives of citizens of Marawi and also Mindanao. I know it's concerned about the safety of the citizens, but more lives are at stake. Commuting would take longer now due to strict checkpoints when traveling from province to province. And the people's lives were all affected because they couldn't live a normal life anymore because of martial law.
For me, yes. Martial law was made for a situation like this. It's understandable that there's fear there because of the previous martial law that happened before. But with President Duterte, I truly believe that he's only after the welfare of Filipino people. In order for us to completely eradicate the presence of terror groups in our country and to successfully win the war, I would rather leave it to the government to deal with the Marawi crisis. When properly implemented, this should not by itself entirely burden our country. This power was granted to allow the president to resolve the situations in case of invasions or rebellion when the public safety requires it. So you can't say declare for the displacement of our people or for the fear of preventive state abuses. I have to put my trust in our president. I trust that he will not harm his own land. So let's give him a chance to end this crisis and restore the peace and order there once again.
I think it has something to do with the attractiveness of money itself or the lucrative position there.
Corruption is already cancer ng lipunan. Okay, when you say cancer ng lipunan, it's there. It's there in the system. You cannot resolve it anymore unless otherwise you're going to remove all the personnel. Okay.
The corruption rooted in the officials themselves.
Is a direct wound or has a direct effect on the economy. Why? Because it actually captures the revenue stream itself. In the Bureau of Corruption, in the Bureau of Customs, what is ought to be collected is not being collected properly. During the investigation in the Senate for the whole year, 90 billion pesos is being lost due to corruption, and that is a big amount of money already that should have been attributed to the economy. Even that alone can actually fund the free tuition fee already for the college for probably 5 years.
Actually not only drugs is being imported, other items such as bags, jewelries, all items, they are being misdeclared, okay, just to lower the cost of the item, and then it's gonna be a big loss to the economy, to the Philippine government. Why? Because they are being underpaid.
That go in our country, there are certain tariff tax that are laid down on those products. And once there are corruption, they can just go in without those tax. Then there will be a significant deficit in our news in the newspaper that the president implemented a 5-day rule. There is a certain frame time for the transaction to be finished. The government also should designate a person in the different sector in Bureau of Customs who should manage it directly.
To solve this corruption, basically remove all the employees, train a new one, from rank and file to the top, from the top to the bottom. Train a new one.
Probably get rid of everyone in the Bureau of Customs because everyone is actually a stain of corruption already, even if we deny it. And overhaul the system, replace them with new people who are not yet tainted with corruption, and that I think could probably solve.
Did you see the news about the Commission of Human Rights budget reduced from 600 peso to 1,000 peso budget?
Yes.
What was your reaction about that?
My initial reaction, I think it was funny. But honestly, I think at the moment they do deserve it because for the Human Rights Committee, basically they're not doing their jobs. All they do is basically just ask people or tell people which and what not should be done for the rights of the human. It's just that they're not doing their jobs investigating on what the root cause, why things are happening. That's my comment on it.
Do you believe that they deserve that 1,000 budget?
For the time being, yes, but it should not be maintained as such. They should first investigate on the issue at hand. Why the things that are currently happening.
Where did the CHR decide to also give the terrorists human rights?
Yes. My take on that in layman's term, basically, pininiwala ko na even though they are terrorists and they are violating human rights by killing innocent people and ruining thousands of lives in the process, para sa akin, I think they do deserve the human right kasi tao rin sila. It's just there's due diligence should be done in executing such stuff. And besides, if we do not give them human rights, we are no different than animals.
Thank you.
Hi to Felice. We are here to ask you a question. What's your opinion if Duterte didn't declare martial law in Marawi City during the Maute ISIS attack?
Good question, and I only have one answer for that. If you are aware of Mindanao's geography, you'd know that not declaring martial law in Marawi City would evidently mean allowing the Maute ISIS group to spread further in Mindanao as well as spread further to Visayas and Luzon. Marawi is situated in the middle of Mindanao. Henceforth, if it wasn't declared during the entirety of the attack, Mindanao might have been gone by now, and as well as Visayas and possibly half of Luzon, knowing how much the terrorist attacks are happening. That's it.
Alright,
Diba?
thank you so
Ang
much.
bilis. Nakailang take?
Hey Sean, so we're here to ask you a question. What's your opinion if Duterte didn't declare martial law in Marawi City during the Maute ISIS attack?
Well, to be honest, if President Duterte wasn't able to declare martial law, it would be a potential threat all the way from, not just in Mindanao, but all the way from Visayas and Luzon. Because especially Luzon is in the seat of power, so Metro Manila primarily is in this very central or in the very top of the country, so it could cause a lot of disruptions for the country's sovereignty and its freedom also. Wait lang. Kinabahan ako na.
Thank you so much. Hi guys. So what's your opinion if Duterte didn't declare martial law in Marawi City during the Maute ISIS attack?
It would be stupid not to.
Yeah, agree.
More
They would
people,
probably be
more
still at war.
More people would die.
There's still be terrorists out there in Marawi. Probably. Yeah.
But you know, what do we know? Yellow stars, you know.
Okay, thanks guys.
Hello, and welcome to our interview with. We will talk about the plans of jeepney modernization here in the Philippines. So, how do you feel about that plan being applied?
I think that it's a pretty good step in the development of our country, since it not only will it help jeepney drivers not use the boundary system, but instead they will now get monthly salaries, which they don't have to compete with fellow or other jeepney drivers in the road. So it makes people crossing the roads more safe than before. And another thing about it is that commuters, despite the increase in what they call this, in fare, people will get to experience, for example, AC or air-conditioned jeepneys, aside from sweating, you know, in traffic, like, oh, that is. But besides that, it might seem to people that it will be a pretty hard move to do, but I think that it's worth to try at least.
Thank you, Mr.
Ano, yung tungkol sa Marawi pati Yolanda, yung sa funds nila sa mga bahay na pinapagawa. Ano yung masasabi mo?
Masasabi ko lang doon sa comparison na kumayad sa FPR. First off, doon sa Yolanda. Doon sa, after the tragedy, of course, we all know maraming namatay doon, maraming nag-suffer, maraming na-injured, maraming nawala ng tirahan. Siyempre, before Duterte came, si President Aquino ang head ng bansa nila. So yung yung fund na yon, yung para sa victims na dapat na sana ipamigay, ay binulsutan ng mga taga-liberal, yung mga, sila yan eh, mga taga-DSWD, yan, sila Marojas, sila yan, yung mga, sinasabi na yung mga yellows. Tapos pangalawa, kumpara mo dun sa Marawi na yon, after the war, nagamit sa tamang paraan. Kasi si Duterte nga yung president nga na yon. Nagamit sa tamang paraan yung funds na yun na bigayin sa mga naapektuhan ng giyera sa pagitan ng militar at Mauti, no. So, ang nagamit yon sa paggawa ng bahay na pamigay sa biktima ng giyera. Kumpara mo doon sa Yolanda, wala, nabulsa nila yung handang Yolanda imbes na mapunta sa naapektuhan ng bagyo. So yun ang masasabi ko.
My opinion on extrajudicial killings in GK is it's unconstitutional and it should be apprehended. It should be in terms of the government, it should be stopped because it's unconstitutional. It's like kabastusan sa Tagalog, kabastusan sa ating karapatang pantao.
At first, I thought it's gonna work like extrajudicial killing, meaning ma-reduce yung sa drugs, ganun. But then again, after a few months, parang hindi siya naging okay. It seems like na parang naging worse lang siya because killings and parang kasi lahat dapat may due process when it comes to like hahatulan ka and everything. So I think extrajudicial killing nowadays is not appropriate to our government because everything must go into a process. That's all.
Became the president, were there any improvements?
For me, I like Duterte because of his implementation, like not taking drugs or not having not smoking in a public place. But I don't see the implementation invisibly around me. But I like his plans, like how he thinks.
In my opinion, there are some improvements and some implementations of laws also that are beneficial for all Filipinos. However, especially those I commend the president for handling the Marawi? Yeah, Marawi properly and it ended. However, I just also don't agree with the some negative effects like extrajudicial killings, and especially for those young people who are being killed or innocent, but they are helpless, but they couldn't do anything because of them.
I also like Duterte's way of implementing his rules and laws. However, there are times that EJK or extrajudicial killings are really evident and it's not really going to that due process. So, but still, his administration is doing well.
For me, I'm not exactly favorable, nor am I in the negative point of Duterte being the president. It's just that he has his positive and negative points, wherein some of his positive points are helping in a way, Well, as his some of his negative points, which is actually being emphasized by the media, is really going far beyond than what is acceptable for some of us. But then more or less, I think there are improvements. It's just that it's not visible. It's not that visible with all of us. But then there are maybe just small, but then there still are improvements.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Si President Rodrigo Duterte sa mga union ng jeepney drivers, and he said, mahirap kayo, putang ina, magtiis kayo sa hirap at gutom, wala akong pakialam. It's the majority of the Filipino people. Huwag niyo ipasubo ang tao. So, whether I agree with this or not, it's not totally black and white. But I do agree with his sentiments. And I understand his outrage, his anger towards Piston and the jeepney drivers who support their party list. Uh, I I agree with President Duterte. Not because tama naman yung point niya. Nagkaroon tayo ng dalawang non-working holiday dahil nag-strike yung mga grupo ng jeepney drivers across the country, particularly in Metro Manila. And that is President Duterte's point. That Piston and the jeepney drivers are holding the commuters hostage para lang masunod yung ginagawa nila. Lineleverage ng Piston ang mga tao. Which is, kung ako ang presidente, magagalit rin ako. And hindi man, maybe to some degree, hindi na natin makita kung galit ba si Duterte o ganyan lang talaga siya magsalita. Kasi ganyan naman talaga ang Pangulo natin. Rough on the edges, bara-bara, he speaks what he feels. Maybe he's not the ideal president, but he is our president. Now, just to set the record straight, I did not vote for President Duterte. I voted for Senator Miriam, the late Senator Miriam Defensor Santiago. But that doesn't mean that I will oppose the administration blindly just because the person that I think should be president lost. That is not what a responsible citizen should do. Like in this case, I personally don't like how President Duterte approaches issues. Palamura, talagang galit. Pero that's just how he is. What I look at is the issue itself. And in this case, sino ang natatalo? Tao ang natatalo eh. So, it's just right na as president, magalit ka sa kanila na they're so opposed to change dahil hindi nila kaya. It's not like hindi naman nakalagay sa jeepney modernization plans ng mga may mga plans yan para mapagaan ang pagbili, mapadali ang pagbili ng bagong jeepneys, yung mga driver and operators. The problem is they're so opposed to it because they think of their own convenience and they're using the commuting populace para makuha nila yung gusto nila, and that's borderline evil if in my opinion, and tama lang talaga na minura sila ni President Duterte in this case. So basically that's it.